This is video 2 of this whole entire series. So if you guys haven't seen the first one, please go back and watch it. There's a lot of cool steps that's going to help you to understand my process and why exactly I do things. Without that context, a lot of what's happening in this video might not make sense. You might be able to catch on a little bit, but for the most part, it won't make sense. So the whole entire name of the game is Rembrandt, right? We are kind of going with the Rembrandt style. I'm using the coaching of my mom right now, who is a professional art teacher. I actually help teach alongside with her in her classes. And then this summer, I'll be teaching my own class with my wife for 8-year-olds. And art is one of the most pleasurable and just the most satisfying things you can get into. If I'm being completely honest, it's one of the most rewarding activities. Nothing's better than being able to have like a product on hand based off of your efforts. It just feels good to have something that means things to people. And talking about meaning things to people, this painting in particular of Jesus Christ was something I wanted to be specifically meaningful. And now painting Jesus Christ is a little bit hard because of the fact that you want to get it as perfect as possible. It's like I don't want to mess up his face. I don't want to make him look a certain way that maybe you wouldn't align with, or that you wouldn't really see Christ looking like, right? Because we don't really have the perfect image of him right now. In the last video, I talked a little bit about the science, everything that actually goes into getting him how I think he would actually look biblically, and just with some of the artifacts that we have. So I use a little bit of the Shroud of Turin, which recently science has proved cannot be replicated or remade in any way. And if you want more information on that, obviously, again, go back and watch the last video because there's a lot of cool stuff. But also in this video, as I'm bringing in the colors and things like that, the focus is more on other descriptions that we have, like from Pontius Pilate, how he says his hair is of the color of a ripe hazelnut, I believe he says. And he says, I believe that we know that his eyes were green according to Pontius Pilate. Now, whether or not that is historically correct, if things have been altered, right? We don't know, but I'd say that's pretty dang accurate. And it makes sense. Why would Jesus Christ look like the people around him if his father is God and not the people around him, right? So of course he looks somewhat like everybody, but not totally. And I truly do believe that. And there's also some other descriptions, like from Paul, I think in Corinthians, where he basically says that there wasn't anything about Jesus Christ that would make you want to desire him, that would make you want to chase him. So I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it. I don't know what that means, but yes, I think it's looking really good. Here's what we got so far of our portrait of Jesus Christ. Clearly the eyes are a little bit almost, I don't know, I gave him a dead eye by accident, but we'll fix that up. Kind of curious though, because here is the predicament in which I'm facing. With the description of Christ, obviously we have very minimal writings about him, and people are going to say like for example, the descriptions from Pontius Pilate are incorrect and not historically accurate. But we also have to keep in mind from a religious standpoint that he wasn't born of man, he was also born of God, and Mary being his mother. So would that mean he would look like the people there? And I'm almost going to say that he probably wouldn't. He probably wouldn't. So I'm kind of trying to figure out, should I make the hair kind of golden like Pontius Pilate said? Pontius Pilate said that Christ's hair and beard were of a golden color. And there was that one girl who died and came back and painted Christ, and his eyes are like green and his hair's kind of blonde. And so I'm just trying to figure it out. He's definitely, I really don't believe he looked like the people totally that surrounded that Israel area, that space, that Middle Eastern space, right? So something's got to change. And I'm kind of leaning towards the idea that maybe the description from Pontius Pilate was as accurate as it's gonna get. So I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'll pray about it. But right now I'm loving it. It's looking cool. So I got to work. I think he ended up looking really cool. There's some things that I'm trying to change. Like obviously the hair isn't totally like a ripe hazelnut, right? I haven't changed the eyes totally green yet. I'm kind of going more amber with eyes, but the main focus is trying to keep the hair in a state that can be perceived as brown, or with a little bit of some highlights, or maybe a little bit more sun bleached or blonde or hazelnut, whatever you need it to be, right? Because obviously everybody has a different image of Jesus Christ. So I don't want to take away from anybody's image, because then you don't feel it the same way. Then the next really big focus was getting the eyes right. Obviously, the color, like I said, I haven't really touched on, but the eyes are, that's how you know someone's sincere. And having to create emotion through the eyes and not so much through the mouth and things like that is pretty tough. Having to change the image from the AI rendering of the Shroud of Turin as well so that it felt more accurate was tough too. And obviously the face has been changing in ways that I never expected, because as you keep adding these layers, the face evolves and becomes something completely and totally different. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like tomorrow even. I don't know what it's going to look like in the next video, but things could change because it's already gone through like 4 or 3 different facial structures. It's just changed so much as we've added these layers, and it's not like we're changing the features that much. It just is happening, which is kind of cool. Obviously, this is one representation. I think I'm not sure if it's accurate or not, but I do feel really good about it for some reason. And within the next painting, maybe I'll change his face a little bit more. I don't know. I'm always painting different things, but we'll see. Something I personally would like to know, and actually just a thought I've had as I've been painting this, is we all know that Christ is going to come back at some point, but when he does, will we even recognize him? Will we be worthy enough to recognize him? That's a thought that I've had. And I guess part of that kind of frightens me. It really, really does. Would we be able to recognize Jesus Christ if he came back to earth? If he literally just came to your workplace and started talking to you, would you recognize him? You might be like, oh, that guy was chill. That guy was super cool. But would you truly recognize him? I don't know. And the reason I say that is because when Christ came back to the shore after his resurrection to call Peter and John and you know what I'm talking about. When he's calling everyone, he's beckoning them to come unto him. They don't recognize him at first, and it takes them a while to recognize him, and they honestly don't even believe it's him. And yeah, part of it's like, well, he was resurrected, right? But they just spent years with this man. They spent years. They saw this man suffer. They've experienced everything with him. How on earth do you forget what the man's face looks like? And yeah, he's probably come back. He's in this perfected glory, and in a way that they probably hadn't experienced him before. But my question was it the fact that he was in some greater glory than they had ever experienced him, or were they just not worthy? Did they forget about him? Did they just go on about their lives after seeing the most miraculous things happen and witnessing the most powerful man in history do the work of God, and they went back to work to simply serve themselves? I don't know. In our lives, do we serve ourselves more than we serve God? Do we? Actually, we had in my church, we have something called a general conference where we have a bunch of church leaders speak to us, and they give really powerful sermons. And one sermon, or one talk as we call it, he asked, and this is super powerful, I never thought about this, do we admire Jesus Christ, or do we believe in him? Do we believe in Jesus Christ, or do we admire him? Do we worship him, or do we admire him? And then think about that. What would it look like to worship Jesus Christ? What does it look like to worship? In a lot of ways, based off of your description, okay? Based off the description you have, which I assume is pretty similar to what I have, I bet you worship your phone within that same light. Something to think about. Anyways, here's the face. I brought in the whites, doing another layer, adding another veil, and then going in back with the colors Azo Gold. This is Azo Gold right here. It looks kind of like a burnt umber color, or like almost like a reddish brown, almost orangish. But then when you put it onto the canvas, or in this case, the masonite board, it turns yellow. That's what it looks like. Azo Gold from Golden. And then here's alizarin crimson, and then carbon black, and then Utrex titanium white. And then, of course, gloss medium to shine it up and give it some depth, right? That's so important. If you guys don't have some gloss medium, go on Amazon. Actually, you know what? And for that case, again, I kind of am trying to figure everything out. It might not be there in the description, but depending on when you watch this, just check. That will probably be in the description, and maybe I can get you guys the best price. So that's what I'm looking for, because you have to really dig deep. And as an art teacher, trying to find supplies for my students and things like that, I want to give the best deals, right? So here we go. I'm just adding the Azo Gold, and then every once in a while I'll mix the alizarin crimson with the Azo Gold to create kind of a more medium tone. But right now the alizarin crimson's kind of going in. I call it plum earlier because it's kind of feels more plum colored, right? Leaves off a more pink tone. But I was just kind of adding that more into the shadows, things like that. This is what we have so far. I love it. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, that you guys felt it a little bit, felt a little something, a little bit of that Holy Spirit, right? This was a special painting to me, and obviously there's going to be more parts, right? This is part 2 of whoever knows, however many it takes to finish this painting. It's a process that's really lifted me up and changed me in a lot of ways, and it's exciting to see how it's doing that, how it's like, it's almost the same meditative feeling I would get from studying the scriptures or from praying. And I get it from painting Jesus Christ, and that in and of itself is powerful to me. And I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited to see how this changes me and how it transforms me. But it definitely keeps me focused on Jesus Christ and His purpose for me, and also for you guys, the viewers, and the people who will be buying the painting potentially. The goal for this painting, I just want to let you guys know real quick before anything ends. I'm actually going to be creating a very large canvas print, where I will be painting on top of that canvas print, adding an additional layer or 2, so that I can then donate it to an auction just for my church. So that way they can raise money for things like activities for the youth and things like that. So this is why it's so important to me as well. I just got to get it right so that people want to buy it and so that people are willing to spend more money on it. Sounds a little bit crazy, but again, if it's for the purpose of God and also for strengthening the youth, I think that's super important. So it happens. Thank you guys so much for the support. My name is Gabe the Painter, or Gabriel Bowman, and I will see you in the next video. Please subscribe.